Hi, Dr. Q from the Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. Welcome to the Genetic Genius. I'm so happy to have you as a guest today.
Hello, Dr. Lulu, and thank you so much for having me as a guest on your show. It's a true honor and pleasure to be here.
Yay. Well, welcome. First, before we dive deep into palm reading and the whole aspect of the palm leaf, which I can't
Yes.
wait to hear more about, I'd love for you to just, let's get to know you, talk a little bit about yourself and how you got to be what you're doing now, because I think your story is fascinating.
Well, fascinating, not sure. Challenging for sure. It was lots of
Challenging. Yeah,
challenges. Yes,
right.
yes. It was a growth experience. What should I say? I think my spiritual journey started when I was 16, as I got cancer at age 16. And so I spent the next 3 years, 16 to 19, in and out of hospital. So, and 1,000 needles up my veins later,
Mm,
1,000, it completely destroyed my right arm, chemotherapy, surgery, radiation, the whole nine yards for a long, long time. So when I was 16 and I got cancer, I was like, God, why me? Of course, angry
mm,
teenager, because, I was an innocent teenager and nothing to do. I thought I didn't do anything. Why would I have to go through this challenge? And I use different words too, way
all right.
more graphic than I share with you today. But at 19, when I was released, I also said, God, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I survive? And so many that I shared the room with
Mm-hmm.
over the period of 3 years died. I've seen quite a few people die, And this is, or during the time, somehow I realized that obviously there is more to what meets the eye. There is a lot more than that, way more than that, I should say. And that's the beginning of my spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, coming from a traditional Persian background, my father
Mm-hmm.
is Persian, my mom's European Austrian. I I thought I would study medicine, of course, because I come from a medical family.
Mm-hmm.
But that cured me for life to become a physician.
You're
Although
like,
everyone else,
okay, I don't want to go that route.
no, that for sure. I just couldn't fathom being in a
Yeah.
hospital for the rest of my life as a physician,
Mm-hmm.
let alone as a patient again. So I became an academic. So the Dr. Q is not just for shits and giggles for fun. I did go the academic route. I did, but that bored the hell out of me too, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I got my PhD when I was 27, I think. I really enjoyed teaching kids. I like teaching. I liked to share knowledge and provide it in a way that's entertaining,
Yeah.
not boring at all.
Right.
It was in one ear or the other. But what I didn't like is all the red tape that comes with it. Boring as
Exactly.
hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not me at all. And so I turned my passion, travel, into my business. So I started a
Mm.
travel business before I was 30. And lucky us, in 2007, we received a phone call from Entrepreneur Magazine saying, congratulations, you're among the 500 fastest growing businesses in the United States.
Wow.
And I thought it was a hoax. I was like,
You're like, what?
really, us? But it was true. They interviewed us. They came over, pictures in Entrepreneur Magazine, the whole nine yards. It's like, wow, unbelievable. I had no idea that we were apparently that good. And our travel business was also related to academic travel. So I
Mm.
worked with a lot of universities, alumni associations, MBA programs, EMBA programs. They had to go somewhere to get
Right.
educated. But lo and behold, just 2 years later, 2009, some of you might remember that beautiful year, 2008, 2009, the
Right.
global financial crisis hit.
Yeah.
So from 1 year, wow, like 2 years later, terrible,
Nothing. Yeah.
nothing. The dollar collapsed. I remember in 2007, we bought like €1 million for about $150,000, give or take.
Yeah.
But then in 2008, we had to pay $1,600,000 to buy €1 million. So the
Yeah. Huge
collapse,
change. Yeah.
huge. I couldn't afford. But because we were running a very tight ship, we survived 2008. It was pretty good. Still, revenue-wise, our very best year. But then 2009, when the actual economic collapse happened, we had a drop of 70% in bookings,
Wow.
70%.
Yeah.
Together with the dollar being worth nothing.
Mhm.
really, no purchasing power. So we just went bankrupt, believe it or not. So we had to close shop. I
Yeah.
personally went bankrupt because I put all my money into the business,
Right.
thinking that somehow we'll survive. And I didn't want to owe anyone money. So I paid all the staff and I paid, everyone as best as I could, but it came out of my pocket.
Right.
And then I realized at some point, boy, it ain't going to happen anymore.
You're like,
So
the pocket is empty.
it's empty. That's it. So I talked to a lawyer and he said, look, you got to go bankrupt. You got to just declare
Mhm.
bankruptcy. And which I did. That was in 2010. And all I had left is like $5,000 because that's what you can keep. If you go
Yeah,
completely bankrupt,
right.
the courts allow you to keep a total of
$5,000.
$5,000. That's it.
Yeah.
In whatever shape or form. It could be a car that's worth 5,000, and that's your 5,000.
Mhm.
Anyway, so in 2010, I had to revamp again,
Yeah.
and and I did because I knew everything's in your mind. Really, it is. It's
Exactly.
a form of energy. Don't get me wrong; it was terrible times. It was not easy at
Yeah.
all. It really
Right.
wasn't easy at all. But I somehow managed. And then in 2013, I think it's quite many years now. 2013, I think I caught a virus,
Mm.
and the virus almost killed me. So I ended up in the ICU, and it was
Oh, wow.
pure luck that I survived because I thought maybe it has something to do with my cancer. So I traveled back to my cancer hospital and I said,
Mhm.
look, I don't know, I don't feel so good. And they said, well, I think you better stay here, sir, because that doesn't look too good at all. And
Yeah.
the next day, after they forced me to stay there, I collapsed. And all
Mm.
they could do is just to rush me into the ICU, and I stayed for a month. And it was during the time when I was in the ICU, thinking to myself, God, what the hell, man? I
Yeah,
survived
what's going
cancer.
on
I
now?
just survived freaking bankruptcy. And one thing that I forgot to tell you, coming from a Persian father, we survived the revolution too. We had to flee Iran in
Oh,
19.
right.
Some of you might remember the revolution. We would have been killed for sure,
Mhm.
because my father's family are not Muslim, and they're
Mm.
Baha'is, and
Yeah.
they were persecuted, tortured, killed, imprisoned. So we had to flee. Period, and we lost
Yeah.
everything. So one
Wow.
day, super wealthy, because my dad was wealthy,
Mhm.
to zero, and my
Wow.
mom took over and had to become the breadwinner.
Mhm.
So I was like, so it was going, through my mind. What else
Mm.
can you do in the ICU?
Mhm.
Oxygen,
Right. Yeah, your mind
plus I
starts to
had
go wild.
extremely high fever too. And this is when it hit me again. I said, man, I think this has to do with karma, because
Mm.
this lifetime, I think I'm a pretty nice guy. Really, I'm a helper. I really help a lot, and I've got
Mhm.
the daddy gene in some
Yeah,
ways.
right,
So
yeah.
I just help. I just help. Not an issue. Money's not a big driver for me either. As long as I have everything that I need, I'm a happy bunny.
Mhm.
That's just the way it is. I don't even have a car, I don't even have a watch, as you can see. Those things mean absolutely nothing to me. So I thought it has to have to do with karma. And then my then girlfriend repeated to me that you can clean your karma through an Indian palm leaf reading.
Mm.
I said, what do you mean by reminding me? He said,
Yeah.
I told you
What's that?
about a year ago. I said, what? Seriously? And you need to know I'm a sucker for this because I am into spiritual stuff. I've done more than most. No, I've traveled more than most. I've done more self growth and crazy alternative means of healing stuff than
Yeah.
most other people. So I've been to shamans, in the Amazon. I've done, I don't know, John
Mhm.
of God in Brazil. I've done it all, really. So I was like, really? I just didn't remember. I told myself, okay, if I survive, I will seek my palm leaf
Yeah.
to get my karma cleaned. And that brings an end to the intro. That
Right.
is how I ended up hearing about Indian palm leaf readings and the journey of that was the beginning of how I ended up now being on your show, because you cannot plan it either. My reading blew my mind. I'm telling you, just blew my mind. And one more time, I'm not a novice. I've done a lot of things, from Reiki healing to you name it. I've done all the trainings, all that,
Right.
NLP. So I'm a sucker for it. I believe in alternative stuff. I really do. And I know that there's way more than meets the eye, for sure.
Mhm.
And yet still, the Indian palm reading just blew my mind. And in my reading, the reader told me a few things, but two that might be of interest to you.
Mhm.
One is, oh, and by the way, that was my reading was 7 or 8 years ago. He said, you will live in Hungary.
Mm.
And we're talking today, me
Right,
being
it's where you're living now.
correct. So I moved from DC land, I used to live in DC, to Hungary, and here I am still. And I don't regret it. I love the city here,
Yeah,
Budapest,
it's beautiful.
capital city. Yeah.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, I mean, apart from many other things, the other thing that I want to mention here is, and I'm open to talk about all of it, so personal. He said, oh, and by the way, you're going to bring this to the West.
You're like, "What?"
I was like, what? What are you talking about, man? First of all, after the collapse of my business, I really didn't want to have any business per se anymore.
Yeah, you had enough of that.
Then enough of that. Plus, I'm not an Indian. The podcast audience who cannot see me. I'm a
Right.
white guy.
Yeah.
I'm not an Indian. So I'm just a regular white guy. And I was like, no, thank you. I said, I don't remember what I said. I just said, well, yeah, whatever. And I left because I had no intentions whatsoever to bring this to the West. But
Mhm.
the enthusiastic person that I am, I shared my story with everyone, of course,
Yeah.
friends, family, and so forth. And they all wanted to get a reading done too.
So
A
it
lot of them.
started to spread.
They said, wow, awesome. I'd like to have it done too. So my response was, oh, of course, let's go. Let's go to
Mhm.
India.
Right.
And that's when I realized that most Western people, that is, will
Mm.
never go to India, period.
Right. It's not, yeah,
They
it's
won't.
not a common vacation.
No, they will not go. So, I mean,
Right.
to me, because I'm a traveler, I've been to over 100 countries. I've traveled a lot in my life. It was, of course, a no-brainer, but
Right.
I never realized that so many Western people would never go to India for whatever reason. Too hot, food's too spicy. I don't know, whatever the reasons might
Right.
be. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. So there's a lot of people that want to get it done. They just don't want to go to India. And then so we somehow figured out in the early days, can we do it online somehow? Like over
Mm.
Skype, we did it over Skype,
Right. Yeah.
and that worked. And then more people heard about it because then those people had a reading done. They told their friends about it.
Right.
Then they said, hey, can we get it on too? And then that's when it's when it clicked. It's like, oh my gosh, this is more than a hobby now because it was work. It
Right.
was work,
Yeah. You're
putting it
connecting
together,
people.
helping them, guiding
Yeah.
them. Plus, they couldn't understand the accent, so I had to sit in all the readings myself
Right. Yeah.
and
The
help them.
thick accent.
It's yeah, it's a lot of work. Believe me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, it's even more work than before, but it was a lot of work. And then I realized at some point, oh, this guy's prediction is actually coming true because now I'm guiding a lot of people. And so 5 or 6 years ago, we legally established our institute as an
Mm-hmm.
institute in California.
Mm.
And and so we're now the very first Western-based, meaning outside of India,
Mm-hmm.
institute of its kind that offers Indian palm readings, also known as Nadi readings or
Mm-hmm.
Nadi Astrology, Jyotish, another term for it, outside of India. Of course, we have an office in India,
Mm-hmm.
and the state, India is just like the US, like a federally um, structured country. It
Right.
is states, and the southernmost state in India is called Tamil Nadu,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a big state, has 85 million people in that one state alone.
That is a lot of people.
A lot of people, yes,
Yeah.
twice as big as California, actually.
Right.
And the capital city is in the northern part. It's called Chennai, and about 5 hours south of Chennai, and it's a bit of a drag to get there. It's not so easy either. We established an office in the hub.
Mm.
Legendly, saga has it.
Mhm.
That's where palm leaf reading started.
Uh,
I do not know exactly how long ago, 3,000 years ago, give or take,
yeah.
because there is no written record about it, but
Mm-hmm.
millennia ago for sure. That's when so-called Maharishis,
Mm-hmm.
translated into great sages,
Right.
Maha, great, Rishi, sage, great sages or great saints, by meditating to Lord Shiva, were given the power of foresight to then write down on dried palm leaves messages for souls to then be read to them whenever they need direction, guidance, and help.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, when we established our institute, we called it the literal way. Indian,
Right.
because it's from India. Palm leaves, because it's dried palm leaves. And
Right.
reading, because the message is written on a dried palm leaf
Right.
for them. You can call it Nadi reading or Nadi astrology too. It will be the more proper term, I guess, sophisticated way of calling it Nadi reading. Nadi can be translated into many ways. One is a seeker. You're a seeker. Nadi is also the name of the leaf itself.
The palm leaf.
Not the palm leaf, yeah. And Nadi is also pulse, so it has it tells you the connection, shows you the connection of reading Nadi astrology. And why astrology? Because it uses Vedic astrology. So it is a subsection, sub-branch
of Vedic astrology.
Of Vedic astrology, yes. But it has nothing to do per se with Vedic astrology at all. These are actual messages written on a dried palm leaf for people. And these messages are written in ancient Tamil language.
Wow. So someone has to be able to read that language.
Correct.
Yeah.
So today in the southernmost parts of India, they speak Tamil, modern Tamil. It's kind of like modern Greek versus ancient Greek.
Which is a huge difference.
Huge difference. A modern Greek person cannot read, understand, write.
No.
It's like a different language. It's a similar story in with the Tamil language. So today they speak modern Tamil. But these leaves, because they were written 3,000 years ago, are written in ancient Tamil. And so not in Sanskrit. People say, oh, they're written in Sanskrit. No, they're not. They're written in Tamil language. And Tamil language, unlike all Western languages, be it German, Czech, French, English, doesn't matter. They're all letter-based, A, B, C, D.
Right.
Tamil is a sound-based language.
Interesting.
So you can convert a sound into different letters in order to which direction to go. Not only is a Tamil, and ancient Tamil too, of course, a sound-based language, but it's also these messages are written not in simple sentences like this leaf belongs to. No, they're written in poetic form and in symbols. So you really need an educated person
an expert.
to be able to convert a poem written in symbolic ways in a syllabic language into a meaningful sentence that we understand in today's terminology. And that person is called a reader.
A reader.
A reader, correct. Now, this whole thing, in a nutshell, has 3 steps. 3. Search, matching, and then the reading. I'm going to explain you all of them in as short a way as possible. Search. You would go, so step 1 is the search. You will go, if you're in India, to a reader's office, and you would submit your thumb impression.
Your thumbprint.
Gentlemen, the right thumbprint. Ladies, their left. Right, left. Literally, I mean, you will put your thumb in an ink pad and then put it on a piece of paper. And then your gender, of course, guys right, ladies left. And that's it.
That's it.
And then the reader will look at your thumbprint and would figure out the thumbprint's name, category name. Each thumbprint has a name. There is a pool of 108 segments of a name, and then your thumbprint will have 2 or 3 of them, or 4 or 5, out of the 108.
Right.
And that combination gives your thumbprint a specific name. So once he knows your thumbprint name, and the way to figure it out is he will literally use a magnifying glass, look at it.
Look at the lines on your thumb.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then once he knows the name, the search starts. Search means
just to back up for a clarification. So there's the thumbprint is in different categories. Is that what you said? So there's different, and there's 130 of those different categories of the thumbprint?
Well, there are 108 different category terms, sections.
Oh, okay.
Names, okay. 108 of them. And out of the pool of 108, each thumbprint doesn't have all 108 categories
Markings
in it.
Or something.
Yeah, it only has a few of them. And the combination of those, 4 or 5 that you have on your thumbprint gives it a specific thumbprint name.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And that is what the reader needs to first figure out.
Okay.
And
Step
then
one,
what?
the
Yeah, and
thumbprint.
then once it's yeah, that's the thumbprint. And so once he's figured it out, he then would go in a physical search
Mm-hmm.
to libraries and archives to find a bundle
Mm-hmm.
which hopefully contains your individual palm leaf.
Mm.
Now, those of you watching this on YouTube, I took the liberty of bringing you a bundle with me today.
Oh, cool. Look at
For
that.
you, this is a bundle, or also known as a book. It's also,
Okay.
you can call it a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the bundle, you have dried palm leaves, and that's just the mock-up, obviously, because the original would be too brittle, and I don't want to destroy any one of them. So that's how they're
Right.
tied up, and
Yeah.
then they're stored in archives or libraries across, for the most part, southern India.
Mm-hmm. Because that's
Now,
where it
when you, yeah,
originated.
so when you think of an archive or a library, you think, oh, air conditioned, temperature controlled, I don't know, security
Right.
guards. Think the opposite. Think the opposite. These are literally little holes in a wall somewhere. Yeah, I mean, it could be like a hole in the wall, and a reader's family has been safeguarding
Mm.
a few hundred of these bundles for
Mm.
generations, and another reader has another few hundred, and there is a more library-looking building that has
Mm-hmm.
maybe 1,000. So we have, don't ask me how many, because nobody knows, hundreds of small libraries,
Wow.
maybe even 1,000. I don't know, a lot, not just one
Yeah.
or two. There is no the library. No, there isn't.
Right. It's kind of spread out. How many readers are there?
No idea. No one knows. I mean,
Nobody knows.
no, there could be. I mean, again, I love India. Don't get me wrong, I really do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this to begin with. I've been doing
Right.
yoga for, I don't know, 20, 30 years. I've been meditating for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I love spicy food too.
Yeah,
Same.
me too. All three of those check.
Yeah, yeah, just saying. But India is, first of all, not the most organized country.
Right. This is
Not.
true.
It's the opposite, yeah. And then secondly, and that's also a little warning to my friends to say, oh, I want to get this done in India. I always say, good luck, enjoy.
Right.
Now, and I do say this with the utmost respect to the ethical
Culture and
opinions, yeah,
mhm.
90% fake. So
Mm.
when you ask me how many readers are there, oh, I could say 20,000, 50,000, because if you as a tourist show up and they know that you're a tourist and they say, oh, I want to get a reading
Right.
done, almost anyone in that area will say, oh, I'm going to give you a reading. Of course,
Mhm.
not so easy reading.
Right.
How many proper, ethical, honorable readers do we have? I do not know, but it's not that many, really. It's not that many. It must be a few hundreds. Really, I
Mhm.
don't know, because I spend a lot of time in India, of course, and I know
Right. So
quite a few
there's
readers
many,
too.
not just
Huh?
one person.
No, it's not
Yeah.
just one person. And I can talk about the readers also in a little bit,
Yeah.
and how they are being taught. So this is a book, and
Mhm.
you see, it's just a mock-up, but I can show you. See the writings in ancient Tamil.
Whoa.
Um, it's poems, really, little
Mhm.
poems and
That's
symbols.
cool.
And those of you who cannot see the bundle because you're listening on the podcast, it's about, I don't know, 10, 15 inches long, because it's also
Mhm.
not standardized. You can
Mm.
have shorter ones and longer ones. So it could be
Oh,
10, 20 inches
depends on
long.
the shape of the
Yes,
palm
the
leaf they
shape of the
had,
palm
or
leaf.
yeah.
Yes, correct.
Mhm.
And it's about, an inch wide, I guess. So it could also be wider because, again, it's not standardized. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And then one of these bundles or books can hold up to 108 individual palm leaves, because
Mm.
108 is a holy number in Hinduism.
Mhm.
And but usually it's less than 180. It's like 40, 50, or 20.
Mhm.
Reason being, we're talking real dried palm leaves.
Mhm.
And these real dried palm leaves only survive, 200, 300 years at
Right.
best.
They get
And then they just
brittle
crack,
and
brittle, and
disintegrate.
then
Mhm.
they disintegrate. So how do they survive thousands of years? Pretty simple, just like the monks in Europe, the readers and the priests in India, they copied over the messages from
Mm.
old palm leaves to new ones, and that's how
Right.
they survived the
Yeah.
centuries. So that's a bundle, and
Mhm.
each bundle or each book has a number, either written somewhere on the top or imprinted or something. This one has like number 22 on it, and
Mhm.
that number reflects the thumb impression name category
Okay, that we talked about earlier. Yes.
earlier. So that means every leaf in this book has the same category name. Male or female makes no difference, but the same category name. So if indeed the reader finds a bundle with your thumb impression name on it, that means all the other leaves having the same thumbprint name are your somewhat soul sisters, soul brothers. You're not related to them this lifetime, but you have similar trajectories. You can have similar trajectories. And that's important for me to tell you too, as it has an impact during matching. Now, the reader goes, finds your bundle, usually 2 or 3, written by one of the 18 Maharishis. You might remember the Maharishis were meditating to Lord Shiva, for the most part, but also to other Hindu gods, but for the most part to Lord Shiva. And then they were getting the message, Akashic records, directly for you, Dr. Lulu, not you in a different incarnation 200 years ago or in 500 years from now. Now for today, right? And I also, for the audience who is on YouTube, I brought you this here, a picture of the 18 Maharishis, which you can buy at temples where where our villages and the offices. And the guy in the middle, the guy with the beer belly or pot belly, his name is Agastyar, Maharishi Agastyar. So he's the main guy who wrote allegedly most of the books, but all the other ones wrote a lot of books too. So the reader will go into a library, and then if it's your first reading, because you can have more than just one reading, usually he would look for a Agastyar book for you. Because these libraries have segments, the segment for Agastyar will go in and pull one out. And if that's the case, then he will go back to the office. And again, there is no computer system. He's not going to log on anywhere and say, okay, where can I find this bundle? No, it's a physical search. So we'll hop on the bus, public bus or any bicycle or moped. Yeah, that's just the reality of it. I'm telling you. People might have the wrong idea. It's a physical thing.
It's not good. You don't ask Google, where is it?
No, you can't do that at all. It's more gut feel, for the reader. Okay, I think, my cousin or my best friend of my second cousin or so, this and there, might be a bundle with this particular thumbprint name. And if we cannot find a bundle within our neighborhood, like within the village or next town, we would then call up other readers further away, or just even engage the services of an agent. They're agents too. We will call an agent and say, hey, buddy, I need this particular one. Can you just look for me? And that's then a statewide search.
How long does that process take sometimes?
I was about to talk about that. It could be one day if you're lucky. You're lucky one day. You just, it's in the reader's office already by chance.
Like boom.
Likely, no, it's really isn't. If you do it with us, the average search time is 4 to 6 weeks. So you got to wait for about a month or a month and a half, maybe 2, give or take.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like there's a lot of different books out there. So you want to make sure you get the right one.
It just takes a while. Reason being, one, of course, there is no computer system of any sort. So it's just disorganized chaos, India, and it's just chaos. It just takes time, period. India is on a different time
wavelength
reality. Yes, correct. And you just got to be patient. It's just the way it is. So after 4 or 6 weeks, then you would show up in the office, if you were in India, of course, and sitting in front of the reader. And again, you think office again, it's air conditioned and this and none of that. It's hot as hell, humid, mosquitoes everywhere, and incense, loads of incense.
Lots of incense,
Lots of incense. And I had chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy really impacted my olfactorial senses. I'm extremely sensitive, extremely. Like nobody can use any aftershave or so near me. And when I fly next to a guy who's aftershave, I almost get a heart attack.
Oh no!
Now imagine me sitting in an office where there is so much incense you can hardly breathe. It was
like a mask on.
Torture. Mosquitoes, this and so it's not like the most pleasant, awesome experience. It really isn't. Plus, you don't understand anything he's saying, and then you got to scribble things down and so forth. So it's an adventure for sure. It is, and not for everyone either. So when search comes to an end, you notified search is an end. We found a book for you, so you show up in the office, and then what the reader will do the matching, the second step starts. Matching
Okay.
means he opens the book in front of you,
Mhm.
and then looks at the very first leaf and reads out to you the first or the most important statement on that leaf that catches his eye.
Mm.
He'll read out to you. He will say, for example, you're married,
Mm.
because this leaf belongs to a person who's married. And
Mhm.
if you are married, you say yes. If you're not married, you say no.
Right. Okay.
It's through a process of elimination, but these are statements, not questions, statements.
Okay.
So if they're true, you say yes, correct, right.
That
If
makes
they're
sense.
not true, you say no, incorrect,
Then you
wrong,
move on to the next leaf.
correct. So as long as you say right and it's correct, he stays on the leaf and goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. If you say wrong, he moves on to the next leaf, right? That's how it works.
Right. Makes sense.
Now you need to know that the reader only knows your gender
Mm-hmm.
and your thumbprint. That's it. He
That's
does
it.
not know anything else about you. That's important. It's very
Yeah.
important, because at the end of a successful matching,
Mm-hmm.
where the reader identifies your leaf in that book,
Mm-hmm.
he, the reader, who again knows nothing about you, tells you your first name, your mother's first name, your father's first name,
Wow.
spouse or ex-spouse's first name, kids if you have any, how many gender, siblings if you have any, how many gender. If you have like a guru, a mentor of some sort that's important to you,
Right.
he will tell you that name too. If you have 2 or 3 ex-spouses, he might mention all of them, which comes as a shock. Well, I don't want to think of my ex-wife anymore, but
Right.
boom,
Well, they're
there
part of your life.
yeah, and there, so it is mind blowing. I'm telling you, it blows your mind.
Yeah.
Wow. So you can imagine me, as I have a Persian father with a very unusual name,
Mm-hmm.
and a blonde and blue-eyed Austrian mom, also with an unusual name. So I'm sitting here, and this guy is like bum 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 bum, because I didn't understand what I was saying, obviously. Siavash, meaning your father's name is Siavash. I was like, holy smoke!
You're like, how
I
did you know
I
that?
guarantee you, no idea. He has never heard that name in his life before. Guaranteed not. Guaranteed not.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. It's mind
Yeah.
blowing. It really is. So you know it's you, because he pinpoints your date of birth. Verifies your time of birth, and so you know it's you. It's just wow, holy
Right.
moly.
So
That's
there's
it.
nobody that can have the same leaf as you. It's each leaf is individual to a specific person. That's what the matching does.
The matching, yeah, identifies the leaf for you,
Mm-hmm.
and it usually happens in the very first matching process.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, like 10-20% of the time, the reader pulls out not the right bundle.
Mm-hmm.
So first matching is unsuccessful, so he would go back to the libraries. The second search is much faster because he knows where to go.
Right.
And
Already been
imagine,
looking through them.
yeah, and then he, because it's intuition, it's a gift. I mean, these people are saints. They're amazing. The real ones, the ethical ones, the honorable ones, are truly saints, unbelievably connected, like somehow connected individuals. They're way ahead of us. Beautiful souls. All of the readers that work for us in our institute, amazing human beings. So of course sometimes they don't pull the right ones,
Right.
but 80% of the time it's the right ones. And you need to know there are thousands of these bundles, tens of thousands, like mind-blowing amount of these bundles. And so obviously we're all human, so not every single time he can pull the right one, but he knows
Right.
where to go. And then the second matching, it's usually a match. And so he will identify the lead for you, and then you know it's you. So matching comes to an end. And the whole purpose of doing the search and the matching is to then get the reading done.
Right.
And the
Step 3.
reading, yeah, and reading is based on 3 factors. One is your overall energies, not your mood. Makes a difference if you had a fight with your spouse the night before or not. Makes a difference.
Right.
It's your overall energies.
Yeah.
Because energies change over time.
Cyclic.
Then your thumbprint name, of course,
Right.
and Vedic astrology. It gives you guidelines. So, and the reading, at least the reading that we do, is a so-called whole life reading. It covers all aspects of a person's life, all aspects that are important to a human being. Obviously, family, kids, grandchildren, health, career, spirituality, money. So the important stuff. And the reading, that's quite amazing, because I've done many readings over the years. More than actually would even be able to tell you how many. The reader intuitively focuses on what is important to the person at the time of the reading.
Mm.
Now, the reading, the matching time lasts about 30 to 60 minutes, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a little shorter, could be a little longer. And then the reading is about an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And we recommend for the person to be in his or her 17th year, 18th year on planet Earth. So about 17-ish, 18 years old. But we also had readings for 80 plus year old seekers.
Mm-hmm.
So you might think if an 18-year-old gets a reading done, the reading should be 5 hours because, they have their entire life ahead of them.
Right. Yeah.
And an 80-year-old is a 5-minute reading because, it's almost at the end of their life.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite wrong, I should say. Even an 80-year-old gets a reading that's about an hour and a half. You might say, how can that be? Well, to an 18-year-old, and if you look at an 18-year-old person, what's important to them at 18? Well, obviously it's education.
Right.
I'm going to go to college, I'm going to go master,
Right.
whatever. Will I get married? Will I have kids? How's my career going to look like? And then once an 18-year-old listens to their reading when they turn 40, it's beyond what they can actually fathom, really. An 18-year-old, they only listen with half an ear.
Right.
Once we get to 30, 35, 40, it's like, whatever. They still get it, obviously till the end of their life because it's a whole life reading. But we know out of experience, an 18-year-old or a younger person wants to know these things.
Yeah, it makes sense. Totally.
It makes sense, yeah. So of course, excuse me. And when you're a little older, and I know so because I was the moderator, as we call them at our institute, for my own mom. So she had a reading done too, online, because she's one of those who would never go to India. Period. It's just too hard.
So online was easier for her.
I'm telling you, it is much easier. It really is.
Yeah.
Because I've done both, I know the online version is way more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why in a minute. So my mom was like 70-some years old when she had her reading done, and her reading was also about an hour and a half. Because, of course, to her, she already lived her life.
Right.
The only thing that's important to her were her kids. That would be my brother and I. She has 2 sons. And at that time, she wasn't even yet a grandmother, but that was her biggest wish.
Yeah.
So the reading focused primarily on my brother and I and his kids. So she was already predicted to be a grandmother of 3 grandchildren 7 years ago. So a long time ago.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, my brother has 3 kids.
3 kids.
Yes. It blew my mom's mind. I was like, oh, wow. It's like, that's all she wanted to ever hear. And they also told her it'll be twins. And my brother's first 2 kids are twin girls.
Wow. And
yeah, it's quite amazing. So the reading covers all life, and what's very important for me to share with people is your life is not set in stone, period. The reading only gives you a possible trajectory of your life based on your energies, Vedic astrology, and your thumbprint name. The reading starts with the moment you get the reading done, whatever that is, like the trajectory until you die. And it comes in blocks of years, like 2-3 year increments, until there is no more writings, and then that's roughly when you will pass on. It's very important to, again, emphasizing that your life is not set in stone. Some people just receive the reading as gospel. It's not. It just gives you a guideline.
Right, just a little map.
Correct. So what I say is the reading prepares you for rough times ahead of time, so that okay, because of X, Y, and Z, at some point in your life, you will have a relationship issue or health issue or whatever issue. Then you can buy the umbrella and weather the storm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Total sense.
You can prepare for that. Or great times are coming up, because they will tell you that's a good time for getting married, or good time for moving, or good time whatever.
Right.
You can buy sunglasses, and sunblock, and enjoy the sun. Both.
Exactly.
The whole purpose, in one sentence, why anyone would want to get a reading done is you want to improve the trajectory after the reading. That's what it means,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Now, coming back to me and why I wanted to get the reading done is I wanted to clean my karma because I thought it must have to do with karma. End of your reading, when you come to the end, you can, of course, ask questions, but then the reader will give you also a karmic reading if
Mm,
indeed you carry strong enough negative karma that impacts you this lifetime
that makes
negatively.
sense. Yeah.
Yes.
So did you
So you
have
get a,
some when you had your reading done?
no, of course, yeah. He said,
Yeah.
yeah. So he told me along, and it's very intricate. It gives you the year you lived in, the century, the
Right.
decade, who you were by name, your social status, and what you did to now be stuck in the vicious cycle that you're stuck in.
Yeah.
And then coming back to saying why you want to get a reading, because you want to change your
Yeah.
trajectory, you want to have a
Trajectory.
better one.
Mm-hmm.
To me, very simple. So everyone carries a cross, everyone, all of us, in
Mm-hmm.
one shape, form, or another.
Mm-hmm.
My cross has been health, period,
Right.
more than most. So my cross is health. So my reading's purpose was to lead a healthier life afterwards. So
Yeah.
for me to not be in hospital anymore, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
happy bunny reading.
Yeah.
Everything else I can manage. Now, and how to do that is, of course, once challenges are identified in your reading, in
Challenges, you
what
said?
challenges,
Challenges. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
blocks,
Blocks. Mm-hmm.
uh, in whatever area of your life, in whatever segment of your life,
Mm-hmm.
then at the end of your reading, you will get a so-called puja reading,
Mm-hmm.
Pooja, puja.
Mm-hmm.
Literally translated, it means prayer ceremony
Mm-hmm.
or ceremonial act.
Mm-hmm.
In modern terminology, because I've been coaching people for, I don't know, 25 years or so. Yeah, I have. It means energy shifting exercise.
Yeah, that makes
Just make
sense
it
because you're
simple.
trying to change the trajectory. So you want to change your energetic
Yes, that's what I
path,
mean.
so to speak.
Correct. Now, if you trust, if you believe that you are the creator of your own reality, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe that, that's like my motto in life, then if something doesn't work the way you want it, I always presume, okay, then my energies are off
Right. Something is not
somehow.
lined
Something
up
isn't working.
energetically.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there are things you can do to make the energies flow again. And
Mm-hmm.
these pujas are nothing less or more than this, helping you shifting energies so that energies
Mm-hmm.
can flow again, so that you can
Mm-hmm.
change your trajectory for the better.
Right.
For
Makes total
me,
sense.
longer life, healthier life. Now, I had two readings so far, one 7-8 years ago that started the journey, and then one 4 or 5 years ago. So in my first reading, I was told I'm going to bring this to the West. In my second reading,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't believe at all, I said, "Oh, nonsense! I'm not any." Seriously, I'm telling you because
Right.
you
Like,
cannot
okay, now I
manipulate at all.
believe.
I've no intentions whatsoever. The only purpose for me was to overcome karma, not be sick anymore. That was my number one reason. And of course, you never would think doing this. I mean, come on, you're just not prepared for that at all. But in my second reading, funny, it's different reader,
Mm-hmm.
nothing
So
to
you
do
use
with
the
the first reader.
same leaf?
No, no, no,
No,
no.
it's a different leaf.
Different leaf altogether, different Maharishi altogether,
Oh,
different,
okay. Yeah, it's all different.
all different. So I remember the reader when he looked at my leaf and he identified me, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Are you doing this?" Like he was confused. He's like, "Are you doing this?" Meaning, am I doing palm leaf readings myself?
Oh, yeah.
But I already had started legally the institute.
Right.
And I said, in a way, yes. I said, in a way, that's
Right.
cool. Amazing. I mean, it's like, it's identity is like, are you doing this somehow? It was amazing. Of course, the interpreter said, because the reader doesn't speak English. But the second thing was, in my first reading, the reader told me I will die of a heart attack at age 77 to 79.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did not tell the reader that I had a major heart issue. The virus had impacted my heart,
Right.
and I ended up being in the ICU. When the reader said, "Oh, you will die 77 to 79," I was like, "Man, this guy's good," because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
tell him anything about the heart. And if I die, it makes sense to me, really, as a human, to die of a heart attack because it's weak. The
Yeah.
chemotherapy impacted it, the radiation impacted it, the
Mm-hmm.
virus impacted
Not your
it. So
strongest organ, so to speak.
yeah, so it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I understand. You would never know because I'm really fit. I really look after myself,
Yeah.
but It's just a weak part. And so I was like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. But in my second reading, so in the first reading, the reader said, okay, but you can fix it. So you die of a heart attack 77 to 79. But if you do the puja with your full heart,
Right.
and focus your intentions on it, you can reduce the heart attack to a minor one, completely recover from it, and then gain the gift of longevity, which means turn 82 or whatever.
Right.
And
Whatever
then
that year would be.
bracket of years cannot be identified anymore. That's the gift of longevity.
Right.
And so the second reading, the reader told me, oh, you have the gift of longevity. That's it. They didn't even talk about my heart attack. No, you have to.
You're like, okay, great.
Because I did all the pujas, and you get a whole list of pujas to do. As I said,
and what language are the pujas in?
Well, we transliterated them. Again, answer in a second. Puja comes in different forms. It could be an act, something you physically have to do.
Yeah.
Or it could be a mantra. These mantras originally in Sanskrit, but we use the local Tamil version and transliterate it into English.
Okay, that makes sense.
It could be a mantra that you need to recite in front of the picture of a god or goddess, Shiva, Parvati, whatever.
Right.
And it will tell you, this is like, the mantra might be like a paragraph long, repeated 108 times. So you sit in front of Shiva, Parvati, and you do it on 6 or 5 consecutive full moon days. So every full moon day, you got to figure out on your calendar.
Right.
These are so-called temple pujas. And temple puja means if you are in India, you will go to the temple and do this on 5 full moon days.
On the full moon, yeah.
But if you're not in India, or if there is no Hindu temple near you, by the way, this is not a religious act. Also important for me to tell you. It's not a religious act. It's an energy shifting exercise. But 3,000 years ago, these Maharishis only knew of Hinduism. Hence, in order for them to help shifting energies, they utilize Hindu gods and goddesses. But it doesn't matter which religion you have. And at our institute with Jewish people, Muslim people, Catholic, Christian, it doesn't matter really. It's not a religious act. And people say, oh, I cannot do this I cannot pray to Shiva. Well, it doesn't matter. Then print out Virgin Mary or Jesus, or do something. You got to do something.
You relate to.
Yes, you got to do something here. It's your way of showing the universe that you mean business, that you're serious about your training. I'm serious, yeah.
Yeah.
And hence, you cannot change anything. It comes in a specific order, and it's very strict. And it takes you 6 months, 9 months, a year. It takes you a while.
Yeah, depending on how many pujas you have.
Correct. And they're here to remove blocks. And you got to stick with it exactly as prescribed to you, because that's your way of saying, okay, Lord, understand, or universe, understand, I need to shift something. So in my case, it was long, 6, 8, 9 months doing all these mantras, but also I had to do physical acts, like something. For example, there is one, when people have issues with children, for example, they cannot have any kids.
Oh, right. Infertility or something.
Yes. Or the kids are sick, or they have relationship issues with their kids. Either way, it could be a feed, like physically go somewhere with their cows and feed a mama cow and a baby cow at the same time on 2 consecutive Thursdays. I'm just making this up, but we've had this before.
Something like that.
No, I mean, feed baby and cow is a puja. I know that for sure.
What if you don't know where there are no cows near you?
You will figure it out. You will figure it out. It's your job to figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, in my case, remember, I only moved to here after my reading.
To Hungary.
So the reader tells me, oh, you will live in Hungary. Can you imagine how it blew my mind? I mean, it blew me on my socks. This guy has no clue where Hungary is, no clue. I assure you, if I showed him the map of the world and I would say, can you just pinpoint Europe on it? I would bet almost anything that he would not be able to do that. And it's not because I'm disrespectful. Their universe is just different. The average person in Tamil Nadu, their entire lives, imagine, is a radius of 200 miles around their village. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Entire lives.
Yeah.
Now, for an Indian guy whose universe is 200 miles radius, or be it 500 miles radius,
Right.
around his town or village tells you, me, oh, you're going to live in Hungary. Wow. I mean, this is wow.
Yeah,
It's
fascinating.
not just, it's not just blah, blah. I already had made up my mind to do it because of the girl that I met who's Hungarian. But the reader did not know that, right?
Yeah, right.
But when an Indian guy who has no clue where Hungary is tells me, oh, you're going to live in Hungary, I was like, oh my God, holy
You're
smokes.
like, this is the
This
stuff.
is, so I knew it was a good decision for me. Now, so these pujas are here to help you shift energy. So my reader told me a few things. One was, and I've been doing it since, by the way, feed the needy on 2 consecutive Wednesdays. Now you need to go through the puja list step by step. If you miss one, you start from scratch again. So you don't want to screw it up. And I'm, a firm believer
Right.
I really want to overcome my karma and not be sick anymore. So
Yeah.
by then I was already in Hungary. And so the list continues and it comes to these 2 Wednesdays, feeding the needy. And I asked the guy before, it's like, what do you mean feed the needy? Should I go to a food kitchen? Should I donate
Yeah,
money?
what should you do?
The guy just said, you'll figure it out. How should I figure it out, man? I don't speak the language. I'm new here. So I was sweating. I didn't want to screw it
Yeah,
up.
you want to mess it up.
I didn't want to. No, for sure not. But then it was the night before, it's quite many years now, the night before or the day itself, because I was really stressed out. I was like, you know what? He just told me, I'll figure it out. I thought I'm just going to pay the food for a person that I think needs it at my local cafe. So that day,
Oh, yes, like you're going to have a cup of coffee and you buy the person in the
correct.
cafe. That makes sense.
So I saw an elderly lady there and I thought she doesn't have money.
Yeah.
So I told the waiter, I'm just going to pay for her. Just don't tell her it's me. And he did it. And then just to observe her, because I left, I was around the corner and I saw her when she wanted to pay. And I was like, what? It was so beautiful. Really, I'm telling you, it was one of the coolest experiences of my life, that I could give joy for very little money, really, to a human who did not expect it at all.
Yeah.
And I repeated that the next Wednesday too. And I've been doing this random acts of kindness ever since. So
how many years has that been?
7 years.
7 years.
A long time, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this in many countries, all over the US, because of course I spend a lot of time in the US still. Just when I saw a young couple fighting, like, we're in line at Starbucks. Sorry, advertisement. Anyway, so they were like fighting. And then I just paid for their coffee. It stopped them right away. It's like,
right. What happened?
What? So it was an energy shifting exercise. It really was.
Right.
It cost me, I don't know, $5, $10, but it totally pulled them out of their reality, negativity.
Right.
And so it gave me joy, gave them joy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing this. I've been doing this ever since. Really, just randomly paying for small things here and there. Beautiful thing. So it could be a mantra.
Right.
That you need to repeat, and it's transliterated by our institute into English. So you don't need to focus on the pronunciation, because forget about it. Just focus on the intention. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Or it could be an actual physical act. So that's the so-called temple puja. And the temple puja could be either moon-based, full moon or new moon, or it could be weekday-based. 7, 8 Mondays in a row, and then 6 Tuesdays in a row, whatever. And the other one is a mantra puja, and a mantra puja can only be performed by priest in a temple. So that's an energy shifting exercise done by priest on your behalf. You don't need to do much. You pay for it, we organize it for you, and then that's how it's done in India. So that's the puja. That's your healing, your homework that everyone gets at the end of the reading. And that is the one tool that helps you to change the trajectory of your reading. So that in case you have another reading, a few years later, or 6 months later, or 5 years later, the trajectory should be a better one.
Right. You hope you have improved over the past,
of course,
whatever.
That's the whole purpose of why should I get a reading done. And then coming back to your question is readers. There is no reading school in India. There isn't. You don't go to a school and become a reader. Usually, historically speaking, it's been passed on from grandfather, father, son, grandson, and so forth. Generations, correct. And because there is no school, there's also not just one way of interpreting things. There are like different
Right.
schools.
Depending on the original person
Yeah,
that was doing the interpreting.
yeah. So depending on in which region you're in, some would interpret this way, some would interpret another way.
Hmm.
But it takes a while. It takes you many years actually
I
to become a
can
reader. To
imagine.
become a
Yeah.
reader, yeah, it's not so easy.
Do they
And
start from birth, like, like training when as soon as they
well,
can
if
read?
but I know for sure is if you're like, and again, it is very poor.
Hmm.
If you are a teenager, like 14, 15 years old, and you want to
Hmm.
become a reader, so you would devote yourself to your master reader.
Right.
And devoting yourself to your master reader is actually not so cool because all you get to do in your first couple of years is clean the office, go
Right.
shopping,
Karma.
yeah, menial work. But once you've proven yourself, then gradually the reader will teach you things. And then so after a few years, you become a reader, qualified reader.
Mm-hmm.
And after about 10 years of being a qualified reader and being an excellent reader,
Mm-hmm.
years will start calling you Swamiji, which
Mm.
means advanced reader that
Right.
people look up to. And after another 10, 15 years or so, whatever, as being the top of your game, your peers, which means other Swamijis,
Mm-hmm.
start calling you Guru, Guruji,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is the
Right.
highest rank you can get in this field. So at my institute, we have only Swamijis
Mm-hmm.
and one Guruji who is our head reader. But
Mm-hmm.
they're all beautiful, beautiful souls. I'm telling you, they're all of
Mm-hmm.
them phenomenal, and all of them have a regular education. Like
Mm-hmm.
our Guruji,
Mm-hmm.
he is an engineer
Mm-hmm.
by trade. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he is a master in engineering, but
To
he chose to do readings and
do
become a
his
reader.
side project.
Was now it's his full-time job. That's his
Right.
job.
Yeah.
But he could be an engineer. My office manager has a master in English. He was a teacher, but he
Mm-hmm.
dedicated his life of doing readings. So, and now coming back to why I do what I do, obviously my
Mm-hmm.
reading, I was still doing that. And then it
Yeah.
was not an easy thing. Believe me, it took me quite a lot of energy, effort, time, money, setting things up. But I told my readers, look, I will do my utmost to preserve this
Right.
and for you to have a job. And so I want this to be a win-win. So we give back a lot to India.
That's
We
great.
overpay them dramatically, actually,
Yeah.
to make sure that they have a decent lifestyle and can continue doing what they love doing because they're
Mhm.
voluntarily doing it. And in return, of course, they had to learn Western customer service things. 10 o'clock means 10 o'clock, not
Right.
12 o'clock.
And
This kind of,
not India
yeah.
time.
And it took a while. It really
Yeah.
took a while. It wasn't that easy at all. I mean, I understand these are just cultural differences.
Right.
And I lived in Iran too, so I really do. When I was a kid, I was in Iran, and to them, time is just
Yeah.
very expandable.
Right.
Whatever is
Hmm.
ish,
Totally.
7-ish. So 10 o'clock is still 7-ish. You know what I mean? And so we want this to be a win-win. Now, the only way to do this, and that's the reason why we're doing it, is to get a reading from the comfort and safety of your home, so you don't have to go to India.
Exactly.
And it's online, just like we talk now on. In the early days, it was Skype. Now we do it over Zoom. It's recorded, so you can be wherever you are. And we have 2 set times because of time zone difference with India,
Hmm.
and also our global seeker audience. So we have readings for, of course, all over the US, Canada,
Hmm.
all over Central, South America. We had Australia, New Zealand, Arabia, Africa.
Hmm.
They're from everywhere these days. They find us. So with 2 set times, if I can use the East Coast time, would be 6:45 a.m. New York time
Hmm.
starting. That's the easier one. Or 12:45 a.m. New York time, which is 9:45 p.m. California time. So
Right.
we try to cover the world as best as we can with these 2 set times. And don't be upset that it's 6:45 and you're gonna wake up a little early. I mean, the alternative is you fly to India.
Right.
Some
Yeah. I think that's a better alternative.
it is, and then some people say, "Hey, I'm on Chicago time, so for me it's 5:45 a.m." It's like, I apologize. It's just the way
Right.
it
Yeah. It's easier to have one set time. It sounds like it
Yes,
works out much
a bit,
better.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
not so easy because we're gonna, our office is like in a small town, and then the reader has to travel an hour and a half to that
Mm,
office. So because we installed,
the
what's it called?
software and the computer and
Yeah,
everything.
and of course the internet connection, high bandwidth.
Yeah. So it doesn't knock
At
out and
home,
stuff.
they don't have that. They don't, so
Right.
they have to travel to my office using public transportation. The interpreter comes to the office too, so there's like two people coming there.
Hmm.
Plus, in every reading, we have a Western English speaking moderator,
Mm.
a connector between the seeker, wherever they're
Hmm.
from, and the Indian office. So, in case the seeker, whoever gets the reading,
Hmm.
doesn't understand the accent, the moderator repeats so they would understand the accent.
Yeah.
And even if they do understand the accent after a while, they might not necessarily understand the reading or the depth of it or the
Right. The
impact of it on
message.
you. Correct.
Yeah.
So the moderator's job is to assist and literally hold your hand from the beginning till the end. And the beginning till the end, the matching and the reading part
Mm-hmm.
takes about 3 hours, give or take. So
Yeah.
matching first, half an hour, 60 minutes. Then there is a 15-minute break, so you can use bathrooms, get a cup of tea, smoke a doobie. I did,
Whatever you're doing.
yeah, I've been in so many readings. Literally, I've seen it all. Have a shot of whiskey, whatever it is, to just calm your nerves after you're matching. And then the reading starts, and it takes about an hour and a half,
Hmm.
depending on how many questions you have at the end. And at the end of the reading, we, the moderator, the Western guys, person's job is to explain to you the pujas,
Mm,
exactly
yeah.
how I need to do them, because it's very
That's
intricate,
important.
very important. I mean,
Yeah.
the reader gives you the prescription, if you wish,
Yeah.
and then you will just go home. But I make sure, because I've trained every single moderator that is at the institute, of course, too, is that you, the seeker, understand exactly what it means and why you're doing it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because to an
Otherwise, you're not
Indian,
going to do it.
I mean, it's explained, but to an Indian, it's natural. It's like, that's obvious why I need to do it. But to a
Right.
Western person, it's not so. Is it, why should I do this at all? And how exactly, and so forth. So we explain
Hmm.
how to create a little temple at home or an altar, because obviously you cannot go to Hindu temple, how to do it and how to do
Hmm.
meditation and the chants and or the mantra or the physical act, whatever that means, in the exact order. So there are three people to hold your hand throughout the whole process.
Walk you through it.
And then so we record the whole thing for the seeker. We send them a beautiful, beautiful edited version of it. We take pictures of your palm leaf and send them to you, because the original remains in the bundle
Right.
and recycled at some point in the future that matches another human being. 20 years from now, 30 years from
Hmm.
now, different person will have the same leaf read to them, and it matches them too. How cool is that,
Super cool.
It is super cool. I'm telling you, it's a
Hmm.
mind-blowing thing. So we do this as a service to make it as easy as possible for a person who doesn't want to go to India. And if a person wants to go to India, I was like, good luck, enjoy, go. I mean,
Right.
I'm the last person
Enjoy
to
your
go.
journey.
I just want to make it as easy as possible for people.
Yeah.
And if somebody insists to go, I say, yeah, sure, you can go, and I'm happy to give you the address. But those of you say, oh, I can do this on my own, believe me, I'm a world traveler. I've been to more countries than most people, and traveling comes natural to me.
Hmm.
But the amount of fake stuff that goes on is mind blowing. I'm telling
Right.
you,
Yeah.
9 out of 10 will be fakers. 9 out of 10. They will
Mm.
just tell you whatever you need to hear, and that's it. And like, oh, that was a reading. So yeah, I mean, it's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
The only way of finding ethical, like really highly ethical, advanced, like spiritual advanced
Hmm.
readers is through reference. Like,
Mm.
meaning if another reader, a reader that's already with our institute,
Hmm.
a Swami,
Right.
says, look, this is a Swami, then I trust his gang of Swamis to say that this guy is a true, authentic, ethical, highly evolved human
Like a
being.
referral. Hmm.
Because, to an Indian, to lose face is the worst thing ever.
Mm.
So if he introduces a reader to me that is a faker,
Hmm.
that reflects very badly on that person.
Yeah.
They will never do it. Never. You
Never.
know what I mean? So yeah, of course not, because not only will they lose their job, but they will also lose their face in front of
Yeah.
everyone else, and that's the worst thing that can happen. So it takes a lot of time to build the trust and to make sure that they're really into it. And the readers, all of them, like our entire office, in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
we have a ritual. So we meditate,
Mm-hmm.
And the ritual takes half an hour, 45 minutes to just be ready for the reading.
Right. To get in
For
tune. Mm-hmm.
yes, for
Mm-hmm.
then the seeker to get the right message.
Yeah.
So it's not just blah blah, just showing up, yeah, while eating
Right.
a hot dog and drinking a Diet Coke. No, it's the opposite. Like really seriously taking job, and so we just want this to be as easy as possible for whatever seeker. And you guys don't even see half of what's going on behind the scenes. A lot of work and a
Yeah.
lot of authentic, true spiritual work that we do.
Yeah. It sounds
for people.
amazing.
It is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because for many people that come to us, it's their first spiritual experience.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
is. I mean, to some not, because they've done many spiritual things
Right.
before, but to some it's the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
And either way, because it wasn't my first spiritual experience either, it's mine. To me, it was mind blowing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting
Doing
here
what you're
talking.
doing, right?
Of course
Yeah,
not.
obviously it changed your life because
It changed my life for
it
sure.
became your life.
For sure. Absolutely
Yeah,
for sure. Yes.
that's great. And so one thing you mentioned earlier, you said that in the book, when they find your specific page in the book, that other people in the book could be part of your like soul tribe, or how could you, is that something that you have found? Have you met anyone else that's been in your
No.
same
I mean, you're not
book?
related to them at all. You're not
You're-
related to them at
I mean,
all.
not like in the relationship, but that you're, they could be on the same time plane as us, on the planet.
No, not even that. It could be that a leaf in the same book that your leaf is in is meant for a person in 200 years from now, or for 20 years ago.
Right.
Now, question asks me, oh, do I have a leaf or not? That's one of the typical questions that I get. And how many bundles are there? Does every human being have a leaf? Yes or no? No, not every human being has a leaf. For sure not. How many bundles are there? Nobody knows. It's the chaos of India.
Right. Yeah.
But would I have to make a guesstimation? I would think 10 million maybe of these bundles. So not just one or two. There is a lot.
There's
of
a
them.
lot. Yes.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
How many people will these bundles cover? I don't know either, because
Right.
nobody knows.
Nobody knows, right?
There's a book, but maybe 100 million people, maybe 200 million. I do not know. So
Right.
there are quite a few of these leaves out there, authentic ones. And how come that you have one? If you want to go on a search. Now, the way I see it, and that's my own spiritual journey for over 30 years, and talking to the readers. Because they don't explain it that way, because they see it differently. But the way I explain it to Western people, and the way I explain it to myself, really,
Right.
and I believe in it, really, I do. I think the way we humans, or at least I, if I just talk about myself, see time. We see time as a linear thing, right?
Right.
There is a past, there's a present, there's a
But it's
future.
not linear.
And I really don't think it's linear.
Right. No.
And I've done, meditation for long, like complete isolation for long time. Push the boundaries because of my sickness. I really wanted to push boundaries. I've done a lot of shamanic stuff too. So I really wanted to expand things and understand what's going on. So the way I think we experience time is not what time is.
Right.
So if you, whoever the audience is and listeners, if you can agree with me, then it makes it easier. Now, I think the moment, let's say Dr. Lulu says, oh my gosh, I wonder if there is a leaf for me. You have a thought.
Right.
That thought prompts 2,000 years ago. So the moment you put your
exactly.
down on the paper, prompts one of these Maharishis 2,000-3,000 years ago at the same time,
right,
to start dictating your leaf.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes
So
total
that
sense.
when the search starts, the leaf is there. And some people say, how come, why not for another person? Well, I can give myself as an example. I read a book written by Deepak Chopra, the Book of Secrets. Some of you might know Deepak Chopra, by the way, who refers people to us. I've met him a couple of times in person, and he told me is an endorser of our cause. I read his book, The Book of Secrets. I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago. And his Book of Secrets, and he's written over 80 books or something. I don't know how he finds the time, but he did.
Right.
In one chapter in the Book of Secrets, he dedicated to his own palm leaf reading. He did, yes. And how come I just flipped through it and I didn't retain the information?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I wasn't
Yeah.
ready for it. And I'm a sucker for this. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what people tell me, anything that's out of the ordinary, I want to experience. So, and I didn't. It's odd. It's really odd. So what I'm trying to say is it doesn't resonate with most people like me. And I'm a sucker for this. I just
Right.
flipped through it and it didn't stick. Crazy. And I had to be super sick again 8 years ago to then, for my then girlfriend to remind me again, because she told me a year before that, and I didn't hear it. Apparently, I
Right.
didn't hear it, and I'm
You're
a
like,
sucker for
okay, I'm
this.
going to hear it this
Crazy.
time.
Yes. So if you hear it, then your own thoughts, the reality that you're in, the cosmic connection of it all,
Right.
prompts one of these 18 saints to start dictating the message for you, because you are at the crossroad, either health-wise, relationship-wise.
Right. Something is
often in, or just curiosity, and curiosity
right.
killed
Yeah,
the cat,
you just have it.
cat,
Yeah,
as we
be a
know.
curious person.
And you just want to know. And that's exactly why, with 99% certainty, I can say that there is a leaf for you. When I've also had that before, when people send me an email, oh, I would like to give this as a gift to my husband. I'm like, does your husband know that you want to give this as a
Right.
gift to
Do
him?
they know, or do they want to know?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the early days, which I did not know, said, of course, why not? And it was just a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah.
If the person doesn't want to do it, then there is nothing for them. Of course
Right.
not, because why should there be?
Right. Then it's like endless looking or searching.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So we search, by the way, we search for 6 months. My institute, our institute, searched for 6 months. And if we cannot find at least one bundle within 6 months of you submitting your thumbprint, we'll give you, and that comes now to money, is your $100 that you need to put down. So you put down $100
for the searching.
US for the search for the bundle, because I need to see your commitment.
Right. Yeah.
$100
Makes
is
total
not much.
sense. Right.
And you get your money back if indeed
After 6 months, if they can't find the bundle.
if you can find one. I mean, I still have to pay my readers.
Right. Yeah.
I just give you my word. It comes out of my pocket because I still pay my readers. Right. If we cannot find bundles where you get your $100 back. But if indeed the thought comes from you, 99% chance that there is a bundle for you. And then you can decide to get the reading done and set up a day. We do reading 7 days a week, every single day, unless there's a Hindu holiday.
Right. Yeah.
There are many of them, actually.
Right. There's a lot of Hindu holidays.
On those days we don't work because the noise on the street is just unbearable.
Right. Yeah. No, you want to have quiet for your reading.
Yeah. So, but let's say, I'm just guesstimating, really, about 300 days a year. We do reading 7 days a week, reading.
Nice.
Unless there is a holiday. Obviously, we don't do reading on Christmas either. Obviously, in a few things, but apart from that, we do it, and twice a day, we have several rooms. So that's $400, $400 for the matching and the reading, and that takes 3 hours. And I explained to you already, there are 3 people involved,
right?
And it's from the convenience of your home. If there is no matching for whatever reason,
right, then
you get your $400 back too. It could be, though, that there is not matching first time, but second time.
Right, then they do the second time, right?
Yes, excuse me. And in all the years that I've done, and all the many readings that we've done, we had, of course, about 10-15%-ish second matchings. So that means like every 8th person, 9th person, we have to do a second matching.
Another book.
But we had a few, like a dozen maybe, I don't know, third matchings. So a second matching didn't work either. And twice fourth matching. twice.
Only 2 times.
Yes, so
That's
not
not
so,
very, yeah, not very
yes,
many. Yeah.
not very many. If somebody says no, after second matching, I don't want to, we'll give you your
Mm,
money back. It's not an issue.
right.
But
Yeah.
if a person wants,
You
then we
continue the
search.
search. Yeah.
We absolutely do. So it's, my
Mm,
commitment is to just make it as easy and as powerful as possible for
mm,
whoever wants to get a reading done. And so that's the cost factor. We're registered, established in California.
right.
That's all important for me to tell you. We pay our taxes in the United States. And excuse me, I realize I've been talking for a while now. So we're governed by California consumer protection laws. Our accounting, everything is in the US. And can I say it so people know that we're Western US based institute that happens to have an office in India,
Right.
because we need to have an office in India because everything happens
Yeah,
in India.
from what you
Obviously.
just said, it's very important to have the office there. Yeah.
Yes. Are there other readers that offer the services online? Of course. Indians do it.
Right.
But as a Western person, I highly doubt you would ever do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds like you've been, you've been doing it for a while and
yes,
really have created a good system that is
we really try.
working
Yes,
really well too.
and
Yeah.
so far, I'm also very proud to say that we only have 5-star reviews and quite a few hundreds actually on Google and Facebook.
Nice. That's great.
Only 5-star reviews. So I'm very, very, very proud to say that. We really go the extra mile. We want to make everyone as happy as possible. And if somebody is not happy for whatever reason, and I take the meeting that I had with the Dalai Lama when he talked, and that was in Bratislava, the capital city of Slovakia.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know, 10 years ago, some time ago, don't remember. And so somebody in this little circle asked whether he wasn't quite sure if he's on the right path, right? He wasn't quite sure if he's good enough and on the right path.
Yeah.
And so the Dalai Lama said, he's a funny guy, he's entertaining, really. He's an entertainer. They said, can you help 70% of the people that come to you? Maybe there was a physician, actually. I don't remember. It was someone. Can you help 70%, 70 of the people that come to you? I said, oh, absolutely, I can. He said,
Yeah.
well, then.
There you go. Right.
There
Yeah.
you go. So he didn't even say 90% or 95% or,
Yeah.
he said 70%, like a little
Right.
more than 2/3. Can you help those?
Right. Yeah. Because
Like,
there's
really
always
help
going
them.
to be something
And I
that
said,
doesn't.
yes.
Yeah.
So, and that really helped me in my life a lot too, because I know I want to help everyone. Really, I really do. I want to help everyone to the very max until I realize I cannot. Even though I gave my best, that person is
not
upset or
everyone is
not
going to be in
happy or
that
whatever. It's like,
other
"Man, I really
percentage.
did everything right." Yeah. So if someone is not happy,
Right. You'll make them happy.
all I can guarantee is we do it ethically and with full heart. And if you're unhappy, we'll give you your money back. No questions asked. That's it.
Yeah. That
Because I
sounds
have to
great.
realize I cannot help you and you're unhappy. Well, money should not be the reason why you're unhappy. We just give you the money back.
Right.
And
They can find their happiness in some other way.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Right.
As long as I can go to bed with a clear conscience that we really tried
Right.
hard, and our services didn't help you. I understand. There's your money back. There you go. So yeah. So we do have this money back guarantee. In case you're not happy, in case we can't give you the fine bundles or the matching, you get your money back too. And in return, apart from paying for the service, that you're helping my Indian friends too.
Right. Which is
Because
really
we give a lot
important.
back. We really give back to India a lot. And last but not least, as a special for Dr. Lulu, and the audience of the Genetic Genius podcast, we're happy to give you guys $100 discount towards your matching and reading.
That's very gracious. Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, I feel honored to be on your show. So all you need to do when you sign up and when you go to our website, IndianPalmLeafReading.com, it's super easy. IndianPalmLeafReading.com. And you see, sign up or get more information. You put down your email address. This is how did you hear about us? Just say Dr. Lulu.
Easy.
Or it's easy, yes. Or the Genetic Genius or something like that. So then we can identify you, and that will prompt us to give you the $100 discount towards your matching and reading. And if you have any questions, or you can just send us an email, info@ indianpalmreading.com.
Great.
indianpalmreading.com. And when you do so, you can also refer to Dr. Lulu or this podcast and say, I heard about you here, listening to the podcast or the YouTube. And then I'm more than happy to give it a discount. It might not be me personally answer you, but the info gets to everyone.
You don't answer every single email.
I mean, I try to answer as many as I possibly can
I'm
myself.
teasing.
But I'm here for you, really I am. And if you specifically address me, Dr. Q, I need this, then I can 99.9% assure you that a person will answer. It might not be within an hour or so, but I will answer. And also, not necessarily will I be your moderator either. It's also important for me to tell you, we have way too many readings. I cannot do it. But all the moderators, no, I mean, I know I need to tell you this because
right. Yeah.
5
People
years
be
ago,
like, wait, I thought it was going to be you.
6 years ago was a different story. But today it's not really.
Yeah.
It's just way too many readings. I cannot, but you can all rest assured, I promise you that every single moderator has been trained by me, every single one of them. You can rest assured that every single reader that guides you through it, be it one of our Swamijis or Guruji, I know them personally. I have had meetings with them, we had food together, we prayed, meditated together I've known them for years and years and years. Every single interpreter I know personally, we've meditated and ate food and then slept at their homes, and so they're all
Sounds like it's a good family.
They really are. Really,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they really are. That's what I can promise you. But please do not necessarily expect that I will be your moderator, because I cannot do it. It's just it's just the reality of it.
Right. There's too many readings going on, which is great for you.
Too many readings. Yes. Yes, correct.
Okay. So it sounds like everyone can find everything out on the website, and then also your YouTube channel has lots of different videos there about other people having readings.
True.
Yeah,
Yes,
which
you're
is
right.
really fun to go and watch. So that's another way people can find out more about the readings. I like that a lot. And one last fun question for you, Dr. Q. If you had an unlimited budget right now, what would you do with that money to make the biggest impact on the planet?
What? If I had an unlimited amount of money now to have the biggest impact on, oh my gosh, you should have told me this before, because I would have thought about something smart, but now, what would I do? Let me think. Well, I'm an academic. Okay, so I'm a traveler. So who am I? Is very simple. I'm a traveler. I've traveled a lot. I'm a very educated person from a traditional point of view. And I'm also a very spiritual person. So these are the three things, I guess, the three segments that I'm in. And given all my travels and given all my education and my spiritual approach to life, I think one aspect to make this a better world is travel. If you travel, you will see how the other half lives.
Right. Opens your eyes to the world.
Big time. I mean, big time. That's the one thing I think that's when people, and again, I don't want to play on cliches here, but if more people from, I don't know, the US will fly to Russia, they will realize they're just human beings, really. They all just eat
we're
food.
all from the same DNA.
And so travel. But the other thing is education.
Right.
If I had an unlimited amount of money, as a quick fix, I would take care of every single human's education. I would change the education curriculum, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I find it mind-blowing, if I may add a personal note here, I find it mind-blowing that you go through, regular schooling, 18 or 18 high school degree, and then you go through your whatever program, you get your doctorate, whatever that might be, and not once are you being taught in regular Western school how to think. Not once. There's not a subject that teaches you how to think. No, it's mind-blowing,
Right.
As an academic myself, I was a previous academic, but nonetheless, I went through all that and I was like, man, there's nobody actually who taught me. I had to figure it out myself. Somehow they all think, oh, you will figure it out somehow how to
Right.
think.
That's what the
And
spiritual training taught you.
it's crazy. And
Yeah.
the other one is not once do you ever hear something about finance? How should I manage
Mm,
my money? Not
right.
once.
So key. Yeah.
I mean, so I would change the curriculum. I mean, the importance of how to communicate with another human being, how to
Mm,
be empathetic, all these things, how to think. No, thinking doesn't mean, oh, how should I solve this mathematical issue? No, that's not thinking. It's just
right.
solving an issue, a formula. I'm talking about like really thinking for yourself in an as open a way as possible, so that you can get the very best for you and humanity at large.
Mm,
That type of thing. And how should I manage my money, man? I've seen so many
mm,
highly educated people that have no clue about money at all, and then they're in trouble. You know, they said,
right.
"Oh, you become a highly, I don't know, educated surgeon, and you really no idea about
Hmm.
money. How crazy is that?" So I would put all my money into education, but I would change the curriculum, that's for sure, and add some very important stuff
Yeah.
that you can use for your life.
Well, that sounds great. I really like the travel aspect because I think that's going to be a big shift that we'll see as more
Yes.
people, because we have to have a way for it to be easier. And right now it's expensive for people to travel. I think that can be a hindrance on some populations. So if we opened up in some way, that will switch. I don't know. I'm creating it somehow in the universe, but yeah, and enabling people to experience other
Oh my
cultures much more easily is mind blowing. I love to travel, I make it it's
huge,
my joy, and so
huge, huge.
I wish that for other people too. That's a great one.
Yes, or even it's just because you told me that your husband is Czech background and
Mm-hmm.
German background. Just to be able to go to where your ancestors are
Right.
from,
So
to experience their
important.
culture. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's beautiful. The way they bake their bread, or the way
Yeah.
with the beer. It doesn't matter. It opens your eyes, and then you realize they're
Mhm.
also just humans, and they want to have the exact same things as you want.
They want
They
to
want
have
to have a
fun.
fridge. They want to have fun. They want to have a car. They want to be able to send their kids to school, and
Yeah.
have a healthcare system that they can afford. Just normal stuff, really. It's just human beings. They
Right.
might speak a different language. That's true. They might have a different culture. That's true. They might have a different skin color. That's true too. But in the end, it's the exact same desires. It's not,
Right.
so that's, if I had the
Yeah.
money, I would do it. But
Well, that's
regrettably,
great. I love
regret.
it. I think that's a great one. Well,
Thank you.
thank you, Dr. Q. It's been a joy to have you on this show today, and I can't wait to share this amazing palm leaf reading with the world.
Thank you. It was an
Hmm.
honor and a pleasure to be here. Dr. Lulu, thank you so much for having me. I hope it was entertaining a little bit, and educational at the same time. And yeah,
Very. Yeah.
really, really good.
Thank you.